on May 15th, and I'd like to call to order the Newfane Town Select Board meeting. I'd like to welcome those who are here and BCTV. Do we have any additions and amendments to the agenda? Okay, I have one. It's to add the Employee Appreciation Day discussion, and it will be added to old business. Any others?
Yes, I just would like to report for a minute later on about the Incorporated Village of Newfane annual meeting that I attended last week.
Okay, so give us an updating on that. And
Yeah.
that'll also be added to old business.
Thank you.
All right. Do we have any corrections or additions to the minutes of May 1st, 2017? I hear none. So all those in favor of approving the minutes for May 1st, 2017, please say aye.
Aye. Abstain,
Yes.
wasn't here.
So we have 4 ayes and 1 abstention.
Nobody actually made the motion, no.
Nobody made a motion? Okay, shall we have a motion to
I'll make a
approve?
motion with that.
Thank you very much. In a second?
I second.
Okay, now, let's do it again. All those in favor of approving the minutes for May 1st, 2017, please say aye.
Still abstaining?
Aye. And still abstaining, so it's 4 to 1. That was almost hard work. All right, we do have our road foreman here, and he's going to give his report on the road business.
Yeah, as far as the roads go, it's been pretty tough in the last few weeks to try to keep them in shape as far as grading them goes because of all the rain we've had. As soon as you grade them, 2 days later it rains and they're all potholes again. But we're out grading, we're going to start grading again tomorrow. They were out today hauling gravel, so we'll get them shaped up eventually here. The weather cooperates. They replaced the 2-foot culvert last week. The crew did when I was gone. That had collapsed on Baker Brook Road. Christopher had a lot to do with that, collapsing it. Just kidding. They have started cleaning off the bridges as well, and we've been hauling some gravel. And like I said, we'll be grading again now that it sounds like the weather's going to get better. As far as the equipment goes, the equipment's running okay at this time. We put a new carbide blade on the grader, so that should be good for the summer and the fall. They usually last about a year. As far as the York rake goes, I brought that up the last meeting. We've rebuilt the frame of the York rake several times, and it's pretty well worn out. I did get 3 prices for a new rake. York Rake Company itself was $4,854. Fairfield's equipment in Morrisville, Vermont was $4,950. And Brown Enterprises in Londonderry is $4,199. You gave us a pretty good deal on that. Or would give us a good deal on it. The rake we have now needs all new teeth, which is about $850. So if we took that money out of the York rake budget and went with Brown's bid, it would only cost the town $3,300 roughly. And then if we sold it, say we got $500 for it, you take another $500 off of that, so you'd be like $2,800. We need to do something with it. We rake with that thing every day, and when that's not raking right, it messes up the roads. We end up having to regrade them again. So I would like to see the board, somebody from the board, maybe make a motion to purchase a York rake. I think there's enough money in the capital budget to do that, but that is obviously up to you. Roadside mowing bids are out. Shannon did that last week. The Green Up Day, we took all the trash from Green Up Day down to Triple T trucking this year, and it worked out much better for us. Down there we can dump the entire load and they separate it. We don't have to bother to get in on the dump bodies and try to separate it. And the tires are $5 a piece, which is what Wyndham Solid Waste charges anyways. With everything this year it was $179.85, which I think is quite a bit cheaper than what we got charged last year. It does save a lot of time by not having to separate the entire load by hand, and it's a lot safer for the guys. They don't have to try to climb in and out of those dump bodies, especially when they're wet. I did speak to Sergeant Buckley from the State Police about speeding issues on some of the roads, and they've been running radar on them quite a bit. I was listening to the scanner this morning. They had radar on Dover Road, and they also had radar on Radway Hill and River Road today. And it sounded like they were pretty busy, so. He said just let them know when and where the town would like things to be done, and they'll try to do it when they can. As far as the road crew goes, the road crew went to the municipal truck show in Barry last week, and they had a good time and saw a lot of new equipment. They said the show was really good. Paving bids, Shannon is working on the paving bid with me right now, so we can get that out fairly soon. I'd like to try to find some way, we've got like $70,000 left over in the budget, I think, from last year, from this past year. I'd like to try to find some way to get that either, I talked to Shannon about maybe putting it into capital, which says that he can do it this year. But somehow, keeping that $70,000 in the budget, if we did that, we'd have almost $200,000 for paving this year. And the roads really took it hard this winter with all the ice and the rain. The roads that we're planning on paving right now are Grimes Hill from Newfane Hill to Route 30, because there's quite a few wheel tracks in that. Brook Street, the whole road. Radway Hill down to the Green Iron Bridge, and if we could put that 70,000, or I think pretty sure it's right around 70,000, into the paving budget, we could get quite a bit done in Depot. Depot's really starting to come apart too. So I don't know, it's something you guys would have to discuss and try to figure out if there's some way we can move that money around and keep it for next year. It would save the town a lot in constantly coal patching the roads if we can get them paved. So. But that is all I have at this time.
I've got one more thing on that. On the York rate, if the town has enough money, I make a motion that we buy it.
I'll second
All right, a motion's been made to buy the York rake if the town has enough money in the budget, correct? And it's been seconded. Do we have a discussion?
Let's see if we have the money
Yeah.
in the budget. You get that, you, where you right?
I'd have to look it up, I can't.
There should be some in capital, I think, for equipment, but I'm not sure just how
Well, like
much.
you said, we break it down a little bit anyways, with
Yep.
teeth are $850, no matter how you like it, you gotta buy them no matter what, right?
But it has to come out of capital, you can't really take general fund that.
This is
If you
the
sell
pusher.
it,
Yeah.
say you got $500 for it, there's another
Yeah,
bunch of money off. It'd be coming down to like $2,600 or $2,800, I think.
yeah, this is the pusher, right?
This is the one that mounts on the front of the truck.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's the one we do all the raking with, pretty
Yeah.
much.
What we do.
we definitely need it, paid
Yeah.
for itself.
That's true. What we do with the one that you were trying to fix? And
Advertise it for
You've
sale.
advertised it?
We can, I mean, if you decide to buy one, we can advertise it
Yeah.
with VLCT and Craigslist and stuff like that.
Okay.
See what we
LCT.
get for it. It's probably, I think it's like an 02 or 03. It's done a lot of raking throughout those years. I was gonna put it in the budget when I was on the board, but then we ended up having to buy all new radios for the trucks because the low band is no longer low band anymore. We had to get the new radios, so. But I remember making the statement that I hoped that it was gonna make it through, and it's just not raking the roads the way it should. It's leaving a lot of rocks and. But like I
Okay,
said,
while we're waiting, I just want to compliment you for a very thorough report, and I really like how you included the road crew, and how they're getting some education and some time out.
it was a good day for them. They spent all day up there, so got to see a lot of new equipment.
I know we had the motion in front of us, but did they happen to hit the state auction while they were there?
That was Saturday.
Yeah, I know. Didn't see it until Saturday. They didn't even advertise it, so.
Oh, it's been advertised.
Oh, is it? Good. Because look at that, like they had a lot of stuff too.
Yeah, they always do.
Yeah, some good, some junk.
Yeah. Yeah, Sergeant Buckley said that, you know, if you guys want him to do certain things on the road, just call the barracks and they would try to schedule a time to make sure they get it done. Like I said, he was pretty busy today by the sounds on the scanner. They had one on Radway and River Road and one on Dover Road, so.
about the state auction. What is that, like an equipment auction?
Yeah, once a year, the state gathers up their, they call the trucks that they're gonna replace. When they replace them, they put them out to bid. They've got trucks and trailers and loaders and excavators and boats, because they do the recreation, parks and recreation too.
State police cars,
Yeah, all kinds of stuff.
plows.
I've been to it a couple times, but
When was that, last Saturday or this Saturday?
Last Saturday.
The undercover vehicles, the Ford 350s or 500s,
yeah.
it'd be nice.
I used to know a guy that worked for the state. He always said, did he tell you which trucks were good and which ones to stay away from? But
Yep. All, it looked like a whole generation of state trucks,
yeah.
or highway trucks. And all of the state police, because they rotated all those out this last cycle.
Yeah.
Could we have a clarification of the exact amount that you're thinking about needing for the rig?
Well,
41, so.
$41.99 was Brown Enterprises price. But then we could take the $800 off or $850 off for the teeth that we'd have to put on this truck, on this rig.
Yeah.
So you'd have to deduct that from the $41.99.
So that 850 is already there.
Right.
Well, it is, but it's in the general fund, not the capital. and
It
you
is.
Take this out of the capital, so
Yeah.
you can't. I mean, you can sort of do that in your head, but it's, when the audit comes through, it
Yeah.
doesn't.
So let's,
Doesn't really
we
show
would
up
need
that
an amount not to go over.
I think you can do it because there's still money in capital from the equipment last year that didn't get spent, $3,200, and bridges, capital bridges weren't touched last year, so there's money in capital to cover it.
So what would it not to go over amount be?
Right now, I have $41.99 from, coming directly from Brown's Enterprises.
Sounds good to me.
And if there's some way to deduct that $850 for the teeth, I could, but like Shannon said, if I can't, then it's gonna be the $41.99.
Do we need to put that in the motion,
They have the motion.
Chris? Do you need to put that, the amount in the motion? $41.99?
That's what they gave me for a price,
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah, not to exceed
not to
41.99
exceed?
would be.
Okay. All right. Any more further
What was the
discussion?
change on $41.99 what?
$41.99, that's the,
Flat, no
Yeah.
change.
It's the lowest bid.
yeah.
Thank you.
On Brown Enterprises? Okay, so we have, no further discussion? So we have a motion, to, purchase, the York rake, for no more than $41.99, from Brown Enterprises. It's been seconded. Any further discussion? All right. Are we ready to vote? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It appears to be unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now we need a motion to approve the road foreman's report.
I make a motion to approve the road foreman's report.
Marion makes a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, Mary seconds. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
It is again unanimous. Thank you very much.
I think it's great we had everybody participate in Green Up Day, and that it ended up only costing the town $180.
Yeah.
That's good.
And one thing I was just thinking about though on the paving, the way you got that 70 grand, if you put it out to bid before July 1st, could you hold it over that way?
I'm gonna try to, that's what we were talking about today.
Yeah, so you get it all out to bid before the 1st of July, and then that just goes into that paving price.
Yeah,
And then it's used, right?
right. Brown Depot's really taking a hit this winter. But Brook Street and Bradway are worse than that, so. We can get that 70,000 included in here. I went through the bid today, marked things down, so I'll get together with Shannon tomorrow, see if we can't get it out.
You need a motion on that. I don't think.
I don't think we do.
Oh, that's just procedure anyway, so.
Right. All right. We have an administrative assistance report. All right.
Pay no attention to the August 15th, 2016.
Well, the proper date is
Things move slowly.
The power was out.
because the power was out.
Right.
This is better than the handwritten one that I did have because we had no power. So. The local emergency operations plan, the emergency management committee met, drafted this year's plan. I finalized it and sent it to Wyndham Regional Commission for their review and submittal to the state of Vermont for final approval. And it often takes a while to hear back from the state, but we were able to get the plan in before the deadline. The highway crew job opening was advertised in the Brattleboro Reformer, the Commons, VLCT's newsletter, as well as VLCT's website and ours. Applications are accepted until June 1st.
Do we want to put that on the front page forward, too? Attract some more local interest, maybe?
We do have it on our town website.
It is on the website, yeah. The telephone bill, since WCAX's report on the system being hacked, there's been quite a flurry of activity. I've been talking to the town attorney, area legislators, other towns, several small nonprofit organizations who are mostly government related, and I'll report further when that comes up later in the agenda. Roadside mowing and the one-ton truck bids have both been sent out and advertised, and they'll both be due June 5th and opened at that meeting. Mike and I attended a final site visit at 246 Dover Road with FEMA and the state of Vermont. This is our last hazard mitigation project. They were impressed with the condition of the site, and we can expect payment within a few weeks on that one. I attended my first meeting as Newfane's representative on the Board of Supervisors at Wyndham Solid Waste Management. A motion passed to raise the access permit fee from $25 to $35. The day pass from $5 to $10, and the cost of a load of brush from a minimum of $5 to $10. And all of those prices will take effect July 1st. And we also discussed food scrap collection and how towns will be affected by that as well.
Excuse me, they didn't change the bag rate?
No,
Okay.
just the permit fees themselves. Unless they did that before I started, I don't know. The Arch Bridge, sometime back in the winter, we talked about having V-Trans come back and give another presentation on the Arch Bridge for people who hadn't seen the prior ones. So Carolyn Carlson, who's the project manager, will be at the next meeting to give out information.
Is this information for us primarily, or is it?
More for the public, I think, because I think everybody on the board has been involved,
Right.
so it's more for the public's interest. And I don't think there'll be much new information, it'll be sort of a
No.
recap, so.
We probably should get that out to as many people as we can, so that those people who are still interested in learning about it can actually.
Absolutely. And then the auditing firm did a quick audit to cover the end of Maureen's tenure as treasurer and the beginning of Melissa's term. Nothing out of the ordinary was noted, and there were no unusual findings. Everything was fine. So that's done.
Great.
That's it.
Great report. Do we have any discussion?
Motion to accept the administrative assistance report for August 15th, 2016. She has been busy, and so I understand why it's a little tight.
Well,
I
with the
second.
correction of the date. Okay.
Motion will include changing the date to May 15th,
Okay, sounds
2017.
good. Okay, we have a motion to accept administrative assistance report and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, and it is unanimous. Thank you so much, Ann. Yes.
I have a question about the recycling bins. Yeah, I'm just curious as to what's going on? Are we gonna keep them, or are we going, or nobody knows?
We don't know yet. They're being pulled by Wyndham Solid Waste as of July 1st. We do have a committee set up to try and figure out what the best alternative is, but
To be determined.
to be determined.
And tonight, in our old business, we are going to be talking about the recycling committee's official charge. And I think wasn't it last meeting, we decided to ask to be given a loan for,
Yeah.
can you explain that a little?
So Wyndham Solid Waste will be loaning out the recycling bins to towns who want to use them to have a private hauler empty them and take that away. Every town that requested them was granted the amount they requested, so Newfane has 6 that are reserved. And I did double check with them that if by chance we cannot pull it together, they'll just take them back. It's fine. So
Great. Thank you so much
Thank you.
for attending that and keeping us up to date.
Find a place to put them first.
Ken?
Oh,
Okay.
somebody have I'm
Yeah.
sorry, didn't see you yet.
No problem. Quick question. The letter from the auditor, that's a letter that gets deposited with the select board, is that how it works?
I
That way-
have it, yeah.
Right, so that's like our official confirmation that everything.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Do we ever put that on the website? Yeah, we could. I'm thinking maybe that might be interesting reading for some people. Is that something we want to do?
Remember, there's been those audit letters for several years dinging us because of our end of the year accounting. And citizens have always wondered what that's about. So I think that if we put this audit report that says, okay, at the end of this tenure, everything was checked and everything was fine, it does tell the citizens that at least at that point in time, there was nothing wrong, nothing to be concerned about. So I would make a motion, we put it on the website if you need a motion.
Well, I think we should, just because we're all, do we have a second? Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we do put that information on the website. All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
It appears to be unanimous. Thank you very much for the vote and also for bringing that up. Okay. All right, it appears now we're moving right along to the Williams, scheduled members of the public, Williamsville Hall Committee.
Well, there's one member here.
Update.
Right?
One person,
One person, yep. So,
and he is the head honcho.
I am, for better or worse. So, yeah, I just thought I'd come down and, update this board as to what's going on at the hall. So, I got a list here, I'll go through it quickly. Any questions, stop me. So the grant from the Arts Council, the Cultural Facilities Grant, which we were declined on last year, we reapplied. Last year we were told that the cultural aspect was fine. The review committee was concerned about insulating the building and possibly damaging it. So I went and got a letter from Chip Greenberg, some of you may know. He's an architect and he was very involved in the Next Stage project in Putney, where they basically did the similar thing, took a similar building, they insulated the walls and the ceiling in the cellar, and after 2 years now, or 3 years, they have noticed no degradation, no moisture. He also included in his letter the fact that a woman named Lisa Parpazian, who's the president of the Putney Historical Society, is also involved in Next Stage, because I think the Historical Society actually owns the church, but she was on board with the process that they used. So I think it's a very strong letter to the point that we will not be damaging the building, and we'll see what happens. We hear by August 1st. So that's that. We've had Nick Kraft down at the hall. He's a very good carpenter from East Dover. He's gone through and repaired all the doors, interior doors, so that they actually all close and latch properly. He also did a great job repairing the south side of the building, along the ground level where it was rotting away. We replaced the skirt boards and about 4 rows of clapboards. And he also patched a bunch of holes that went into the boiler room that are no longer necessary. And then I have someone else working on the exterior doors, weather stripping them and tightening them up. Well, actually all the bathroom doors, just the areas that get heated. So the bathroom doors will have weather stripping on them, improved weather stripping. So when the day comes that we're able to heat the building, the heated areas will be isolated. We're also going to do the front door and the door down in the lower lobby, the door to nowhere as it's called. That's going to be repaired. It had cracks in it, glass falling out. Another carpenter, Aaron Betts, is working on that. He should be done in a day or two. So that's all being worked on or has been completed. Then we got to the storm windows. That was a big thing. We were hoping that we could find a historically accurate, or appropriate storm window double track. But Nick finally got a sample, and when it came, we realized there were 2 problems. One, it wouldn't work because of the way the windows were put together. And the second one was that it still stuck out from the frame, the trim on the building. So we decided, well, we're not going to do that. So we've gone back to an earlier plan we had, which was to repair the windows in the sense to make sure all the lower sashes operable, put new sash locks on them, tighten them up where necessary, and we had a plan to get double cell cellular shades, which are very, energy efficient. We can raise them and lower them, of course.
Similar to these?
Well, no, they fit in the frame.
Okay.
Yeah, they're a little less obtrusive. They're, and then they would fold up to be maybe that thick when they're all the way up. And the ones in the main hall, they would be blackout variety. So when we have shows or movies, we can darken the hall. And we thought we'd start on the top floor, and then if we see need, we could also do them on the lower level. And all this work is being done with money from the hall funds, so no cost to the
So
city.
all of this work is already in your budget and?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'll be bringing the bills by. It will come out of the donation fund.
Okay.
So that's the story on the storm window. I think it's a good solution. And also, as we've explored the idea of, moisture in the building, I think having the windows not sealed tight will give us, an escape route if we find that we have moisture buildup. So we're not sealing them up as we would with storm windows, and give it more flexibility and protect the building. So, what else is going on? Yeah, upstairs, okay. We're planning, if it's okay, to paint the dining hall a little more cheerful color. It always reminds me of some institution when I go down there. It's not very pleasant. Maybe a cream color, light yellow or something. And we have a plan to frame up a bunch of Porter Thayer photographs and frame them and put them up down there, and maybe some people want to put some curtains up. Nothing too extravagant, but just make it homier and more friendly. And that we will also, of course, pay for. So let's see. So, okay, here, and then it got down to, there's quite a bit of money in the hall capital fund. There was $3,471 left from 2016 after the electrical work was done. And then last year in the 2017 budget, $12,000 was appropriated. That was to go towards the matching grant, which we didn't use. And then you most generously put in $12,000 more for next fiscal year. So we have a total of $27,471 in the hall capital expense fund. So I have a question. Was this year's appropriation for a specific purpose or just for general maintenance? And that part of that question is, if we don't get the grant from the Arts Council for insulation, would that money be available to do the insulation work? Because that was a total of $26,000. So that's
Well,
what I have to say.
well, that was a lot to say, and it just, first of all, thank you so much for putting so much time in looking at caring for that building and also looking forward to maintaining the building. I'm not sure, do we have that in?
Yeah. So it was not designated for a specific purpose. One of the ideas behind the capital reserve fund, if we could ever get to that point, is to have a reserve fund. So the idea is to put a certain amount in each year and build it up. But if something needs to be done, it's there. So the answer is yes, we're trying to build it up, and yes, if it needs to be used, it's available.
Would the board be agreeable to use it for the installation project if we don't get the $12,500?
Do you have any discussion for that?
Well, I'm very impressed with what they've gotten done on their meager budget that they have from the income and the amount of work that they've already put toward the building. I would certainly think that we would want to invest along with them in the care of that building. And this is the logical next step. To make the building even more useful, I have no problem with that. I think it'd be good.
Yeah, I mean, who knows if we'll get the grant, you never know. I think we have a strong case this year because the one problem we had and were declined on last year, I think we have covered with the letter from an architect and a historic preservationist. But, so if we got it, we'd have, another $12,000 or so. Well, yeah, $15,000.
As long as you're aware that
Yeah.
we're taking from the reserve fund,
Yeah.
which was designed in case something really bad happened to the building we need to address. We're putting into immediate needs. So there'll be a little less in the reserve fund. But if you're taking care of these things now, then we can stack more toward the reserve fund. Once you've got the envelope, the insulation, the windows and things done, it'll be a much better investment for us.
One of the questions I had is, in your building maintenance plans, do you have anything, like you have something that 5 years from now is getting ready to fall apart? Do you have anything on the future radar that you can see could possibly need repair or help? Or
Yeah, there's two things that we see coming up. Would be nice to get the building pressure washed because it's looking kind of shabby. The paint's for the most part holding up, but I could see, in a few more years, not a complete paint job because that's going to be a huge amount of money, but maybe just, touching up. There's places here and there where paint's peeling. For the most part, it's pretty solid. The other thing I could see is a new boiler.
a new boiler?
The boiler that's down there is, it's 12 years old now, but it's not old, but it's not very efficient. It's probably 70% efficient, and new ones are 90 to 95%. So right there, if we are heating, more of the year, that would be a saving. But that's not immediate,
Yeah, how's the boiler working now?
It works. It has problems. Some of the circulators, the pumps they're not up to par, and some of the plumbing was never large enough. It was undersized. So that's one of the reasons the building is slow to heat, and when it's really cold, it's hard to keep the heat. So some of the plumbing from the boiler up to the main hall, especially those pipes, just were never big enough. But it works, and I think when we insulate it, it will be even better. So maybe we can get 10 years or 15 years out of what we have. No sense replacing it if we don't have to. So. But those are the really long-term things I see. Otherwise, besides cosmetics, the shaft where the lift is, it would be nice to paint that. That's on our list. There was a leak there years ago. I know for senior meals, I often take people up and down, and some of the folks, they're just like, they feel like they're in a chamber of horrors or something.
Yes, I
Right.
have
Yeah,
had that experience.
Right.
myself.
But but the lift works great and it's approved. So
I have a question,
Yeah.
Steve. First of all, I'm also extremely impressed with all the work that you've been doing, you and your team. And it sounds like a lot of money that you have put aside compared to other projects in the village where it sometimes takes longer or not at all. I think your group in Williamsville is such a committed group to the town and the village and all the things that are going on there. I do have a question, and I don't know if it's required or not, but when you mentioned that the names of the people who are doing some of the work that you've hired, are you required to put out bids, or how does that work when you're part of the town? Do you have to put out bids, or do you just?
Yeah,
Probably should, but
but we haven't. But-
Well, if the numbers they're talking about, you can do fine with 3 phone calls. Because they're all looking at things above 25,000,
Yeah.
most of the stuff is below 10,000.
Well, with the insulation,
That would be a different.
we had 3 bids,
Yeah,
and
So
we've
you
taken the
haven't-
lowest bid,
yeah.
right.
yeah.
But the carpentry work, we haven't. I mean, in a sense, we have, because I've called in different people. Some contractors didn't want to do it, but we've gotten different prices.
Yeah.
And we haven't always gone with the cheapest, but, someone who we felt was capable of doing the jobs. But if that's necessary, we could do it. I mean, like Nick Crafts, who did the doors in the side of the building, his bill's gonna be about $1,100. And the person who's doing the other weather stripping, I would guess is $700.
I can send you the bid policy, and that way
Yeah,
you'll have it
okay.
and you'll know.
Oh, yeah, good, thank you, Sharon.
Any other
Okay,
discussion?
thank you.
I just had one quick question. If you could send any contractors that do the work our way, because they have to fill out a contract. They're supposed to fill it out before they start.
Sure.
And they have to fill out some tax information for the
Yeah,
treasurers.
I have checked to make sure they have insurance, but I'll do that.
Yeah, there's a whole contract they have to sign now, which is unfortunate, but
Okay, we can do that. Yeah. So we also want to thank the board for your support, and we'll keep moving forward. And the talent show is Saturday night. Always a lot of fun.
Town show
Yeah,
is
it's like I
Saturday.
said earlier, one other times, I still think sometime we ought to, as a board, just go around and check out what buildings we do own.
Yeah,
Because like I said, the only time I've been in that buildings in the last 2 years is for the town meeting, one day, 2 years
How
ago.
about if we all go to the talent show?
Or come to senior meal.
Well, actually, we could put on the skit at the town show.
Actually, we could, but it's a little too late to practice.
No, I just think though sometimes
Who
they
says
go
we
around
need
and
to
check this
practice?
stuff out ourselves, because, so we know what we do own, and, I mean, I think, with a committee like you guys are doing a great job, I mean,
Yeah.
we don't,
That's true.
like I said, I don't even know what it looks like.
Dedicated.
I've never even been down in where the kitchen is, so,
Yeah.
Christopher sure has.
Yeah, the stairs, just like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Worst stairs I've ever seen.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
thinking, well, we have the elevator, if you, yeah, they're terrible stairs, actually, but,
Well, the back stairs are, a lot of the, like when during senior meal, a lot of the folks who come, they'll use the back stairs,
yeah.
which are normals.
Oh, I didn't know
Thank you so
that.
much.
Floors like this,
I needed that.
down the stairs, which are.
All right, well, any other things to discuss before we go to,
One last thing.
okay, sorry.
So,
Oh,
I'm sorry, so could I take your comments about spending the capital fund money towards insulation if we don't get the grant? Is that been approved? That's okay.
Yes.
we have to
You have to vote
have a
on it?
motion.
I think we'd have to do a motion for that purpose. Do you want to see what you get on the grant?
Yeah.
And then we can bring it back up?
Bring it back on.
at that
Yeah,
time?
August 1st. you find that.
Now, do you need a letter of support from us for your grant?
Oh, we got
Already did it.
it.
Okay.
Shannon, on top of it, you got it?
Yep.
Good job.
There'll be 5 free tickets to the show?
Oh, absolutely, anytime.
Uh,
And you can have a free senior meal.
Oh, great.
And, so the fourth Thursday, no, it's the best meal in town. Fourth Thursday of the month, 12 o'clock. John Julian does the cooking, and the food is very good. And Nancy Reese does a great job, makes a very hospitable place. And last month we had 65 people,
Wow.
and 10 takeouts. And, yeah,
And I know, on Newfane Hill. I know seniors that may not have transportation. And it would be good to at least give them a call and say, hey, can I take you to the senior?
Yeah, oh, that'd be wonderful.
That's if you're not away working or something. All right.
All right, well, thank you. Thank you for mentioning us in the town report. That was,
Thank you for everything.
and thank you for the $12,000. Okay, I'm gonna leave. Thank you.
Thank
Thanks
you.
a lot.
All right. We now have a report or a discussion from the Planning Commission representative on a village center designation, which sort of kind of ties into a little bit of the way we go along.
Hi. Good evening. The Planning Commission's been working on
Could you
the,
introduce yourself to the camera, please?
I'm sorry?
Introduce yourself to the camera.
Lynn Forrest, Chair of the Planning Commission. Thank you. So the Planning Commission's been working on village center designation applications and the requirements thereof. Part of what is required by the state is that we have a couple documents that come from the Select Board. As you know, the Select Board is the entity that applies for village center designation. The Planning Commission prepares the application, submits it to the Select Board. Select Board says, hopefully, oh, too cool, great, we'll do it. And then it can be submitted. However,
Before we
part
go-
of what we need.
Before we go any further, let me go ahead and recuse myself out of the way because my partner is involved in doing the village center designation stuff, so I shouldn't be a part of this.
Okay, thank you very much.
I'll come back though.
Yes, don't go away.
Okay.
And if you could just be just a little louder for me, especially. It would
Okay.
be so helpful, thank you.
I'll try.
Yay.
I'll try. So, two of the things that need to happen is that we need a resolution from the Select Board.
Okay.
And I will read it, a lot of whereases. Newfane Village, Williamsville Village, and South Newfane Village, and I apologize, I just have one copy, but only one gets signed. So this would be the one for signatures, and then I'll read it for the documentation. Resolution authorizing the application for village center designation for the villages of Williamsville, South Newfane, and the incorporated village of Newfane. Whereas the state of Vermont Division of Community Planning and Revitalization established a program entitled Village Center Designation, whereby the state will recognize the local efforts to revitalize Vermont's traditional village centers. And whereas the villages of Newfane, Williamsville, and South Newfane are committed to continued preservation and rehabilitation of our historic structures and revitalization of our village centers. And whereas the villages of Newfane, Williamsville, and South Newfane have a confirmed planning process, which we do, and support the Regional Planning Commission and Economic Development Corporation in regards to this application as required by the Village Center Designation application procedures. Now, therefore, be it resolved that on this 15th day of May 2017, the Town of Newfane Select Board has hereby voted to support the application for Newfane Village Center Designation, Williamsville Center Village Center Designation, and South Newfane Village Center Designation in accordance with the requirements of the Village Center Designation application.
Wow, that was enough.
That was too many Village Center Designation applications. So
All right,
so the Planning Commission would request that you resolve, you approve that, so that we can send it to the Wyndham Regional Commission with the application.
Okay, now, this application, once it's signed, you send it off, and what happens next?
First of all, we send it to you, we give it to you guys,
Okay.
and you approve it. Then it goes to the state. There's a board within the Community Development Department of the state of Vermont, and they review it. And they either accept the maps, the way they're drawn, the designations, the delineation of the boundaries, or they send it back and say, please revise this. And then if that goes ahead, and the approval process only takes a few weeks, it's the application process, which is quite lengthy with photographs and maps and documentation. At that point, once it's been approved, then people can apply and the town can apply for grants and loans for improving their properties.
Great.
So-
Thank you. So,
And by having the village center designation, they have a bump to the top of the list, so to speak. So you get extra points. You can apply for things with the state of Vermont, but if you have the village center designation, then you have a better chance of getting what you want.
sounds good. All right, do we have any discussion? Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to sign it.
Okay.
A second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded that we approve this application for village center designation for the villages of Williamsville, South Newfane, and the incorporated village of Newfane. Do we have any discussion? Further discussion?
We're gonna sign it.
Okay. So we're all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, it's unanimous, with one abstention.
Yeah.
Yep, okay, so we are signing it right
You've done a lot of work.
While you're signing, I'll go to the next part,
now. Oh, you're welcome.
which I don't think I need to read, but I will if you wish. One of the other requirements is that the application also has a notification that has been sent to the Development Corporation, which is Brattleboro Development Credit Corporation, and to the Regional Planning Commission. And so you have to have a letter that said to the executive director of Wyndham Regional that says, we're going to apply. And then you have a letter to BDDC and you say, we're going to apply. And that's what these two letters are. The only substantive information is as follows. The proposed village center designation boundaries include, and these are definitely preliminary at this point. In the village of Newfane, the proposed village center designation would extend along Route 30 from just north of Bruce Brook up to Cross Street. And in Williamsville, the proposed center would extend along Dover Road from Depot Road west to Baker Brook Road. And in the village of South Newfane would be along Dover Road from Parish Hill Road west to Auger Hall Road. So basically the routes that people, where businesses are or church or school. Question?
Okay, when do we need to, we don't need to sign that.
You have to sign
We do need to sign that. We will sign
I would appreciate it if you would sign this, because the application for village center designation doesn't go anywhere
it. We
unless.
need a motion to sign that. Yeah, okay,
I'll make a motion to sign it.
all right, we have a motion
second.
and a second. Any further discussion about this? Letter? No further discussion. All right, all those in favor of signing this letter, please say aye.
Aye.
It's 4 to 1 abstention.
Lynn, how many members do you have in your committee right
We
now?
now have a full commission of 5 members. Myself is chair, Bob McCandless is the secretary, Angela Sanborn, long time resident of Newfane, is on the committee. Ken Essie is on the committee, and Mike Young, the dog catcher, or the
Animal control.
animal control, yeah.
Animal control officer.
Yes, I've been corrected over here. So it's a full committee, and sometimes we have small group, like Bob and I worked for 2 hours this morning on the maps. But we do it in small groups so that we don't have a quorum.
Well, you've been all working on this
Well,
for
hard work.
quite a while.
It's
And I
in
really commend you for everything that, and all the documents you handed out to us in the past. And there was a wonderful presentation at one point at Grange Hall here, Union Hall. And your tours that unfortunately I didn't go to, it was a pouring, raining day. I remember that. So I can't say
It
this.
was a rainy day, and people were really good. We had Richard Amore from the state of Vermont came down and walked with us in the rain, and Kirsten Conklin, who's the point person for all the grants in the state of Vermont for this program. So
Anyway, thanks a lot to
You're
everybody
welcome.
who's on
we'll be back with the final application and the map.
Yeah.
If I could have the signed documents back for this.
And could we
from-
also have copies?
Maybe Shannon would give it to me like Wednesday or when I'm in again?
Yeah, if you leave them with me.
I will
I'll
leave
get
them
to
with
you.
you. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, Lynn.
All right, it appears that it is time for our unscheduled members of the public. Do we have any? Oh, we need to, let me go get Gary. You are, you missed dinner? Yes, I'm sorry. You missed dinner. It's just too bad. All right. Unscheduled members of the public? None. Nada, okay. Going on to new business. We have a suggested amendment to the personnel policy, and I think you all got a copy of that. Let's see if I have a copy of that. Yes, I do. I'm pretty sure that Shannon gave us all a copy of the whole personnel.
Yeah.
Oh, a whole, so we should have that at home or wherever you keep it.
Home.
But this discussion is about an addition to page 6, section 7 on evaluations. It does appear that personnel, oh, all right, did you find yours? It should look like this. And it has evaluation, this is a page 6 down here. And it probably has highlighting on it,
Mhm.
right here, this
If I
highlight.
got to everybody.
You get it?
I mean, highlight.
I've seen it.
Yeah, it's just finding, there it is, perfect, okay. All right, it appears from reading the personnel policy that the town is to evaluate their staff, their employees, a minimum of once a year. And you can see that in the first sentence of that section. And it appears, so we will be also, is this where I'm going to be discussing that as well? No, I'm going to be discussing that later.
Yep, down the road.
So all we're, down the road, okay, all we're doing tonight is adding on to the very bottom of that first paragraph, and it should say, the employee shall be afforded the opportunity to respond to the evaluation. This is actually legal. Did you want to mention anything?
Actually, I was just looking at the rest of the agenda, and if you wanted to move the agenda to talk about personnel evaluation schedule, you could sort of put the two together, because 2 items down on the agenda is
what we're
the
doing right
evaluation
here.
schedule.
So maybe
So
we,
if you just move the agenda a little bit, you could talk about both at the same time.
we don't have to do
Just
that
need
at
a
the
motion to
beginning?
take items out of order.
There you go.
Okay, you want to make that motion?
I don't know. Motion to take items out of order.
And we have a motion and a second to take
Take
items out of
Yeah.
order. Any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It's unanimous, we're taking them out of order. Do you have a discussion?
I do,
A
yes.
question?
I like this last sentence,
Yeah?
but the first part refers to the evaluation in writing, and that will be included in the employee's file.
Right.
But it doesn't say in this last sentence that their responses will be included in writing in the evaluation and also included in the file. So,
I see what you're saying, yeah.
No, it does, the next one. Next paragraph.
that's right, but it doesn't say that I looked at that.
The
But the
response.
response from the employee doesn't say it gets added to that. Written evaluation.
The signed written evaluation will
Right.
then be provided to the employee and a copy shall be.
So could you just add "and employee's response"?
Yep.
Yes, I think that's important too,
Mhm.
to make it legal.
Just add that
Yep.
it goes in the file.
So what we're doing here is that it is a legal requirement to allow not only the employee to look at his or her evaluation, but also to respond to it. And we are now adding that, and we're also adding the opportunity for the response to be filed in the employee's work file or personnel
Mhm.
file.
Mhm.
Okay, any other, do we have a motion to,
I would so move
okay, do we have a second?
What's the motion? You can-
to include in the last paragraph, first sentence, the signed written evaluation and employee's response
To be put in.
will then be
the file.
provided to the employee and a copy shall be placed in the
Yeah.
employee's file. I think we also then, we're looking for a motion on the employee shall be afforded.
Mhm.
So I would extend my motion to include the employee shall be afforded the opportunity to respond to the evaluation.
Yes, do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion to add those things. Do we need to say them again? No, we don't need to say that. Good. All right, so we have a motion to add them to the section 7 evaluation and a second. Any further discussion? All right, none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
It is unanimous. Thank you very much. It just brings us up to code and.
Is this is the evaluation?
Well, no, that's something else we're
Oh,
gonna get
that's-
to.
Yeah, okay,
You can do
So-
that now.
Yeah, you can do
Oh,
it
we're gonna do it
now.
right now.
Because we
Okay,
just
great.
did it.
So we got that one done.
right.
Now, we have, the town of Newfane has an employee self-evaluation report. And actually, we haven't had evaluations for several years.
Mhm.
The employees have, for whatever reason, their work has not been evaluated. And it's not, I mean, for a few years, I'm not sure, some are more than others. And some are only 3. So, just to make sure that we're going forward and doing the job that we are supposed to be doing, we do need to, because the personnel policy says that employees are given or offered an evaluation yearly. I wanted to bring this to you and have you look at it. And we're not going to correct it or add anything at this point in time, but it's basically for us to discuss. Do we want to keep this employee self-evaluation as the main tool in the evaluation between the employee and the supervisor?
I have a question.
Yes.
Has this form been part of the town
Yep.
for a while?
Yep.
How long has it been here?
Years.
Longer than I have.
Oh, okay, so this was written, this form was written many years ago. I see.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing it to us and you're asking if we want something like it, something different, but do we definitely
Actually, I'm
want?
bringing it, up because we do need to update this.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I just want to get everyone's opinion about it. And maybe not tonight, but maybe in our next meeting, we can actually hash out either we want to revise it. It's just a self-evaluation report. I have taken a look at some of these, and they're signed by the employee. They're filled out, often typed or handwritten, and turned in and added to the personnel file. In some instances, there is a supervisor's paper that just actually, I think, probably comes from the actual sit-down evaluation between, I don't know, you can fill me in. When you're evaluated, are you sitting down with someone and going over this with
That was
the
not part of
supervisor?
my last evaluation.
Okay. So, so you just submit this, and
I didn't get to submit one either.
you've never submitted. You've submitted one.
I have done one,
You have one.
but the last one, I didn't do one of those, and I wasn't part of my evaluation.
Well, that's. I'm sorry to hear that. All right.
Who does the evaluation?
We do
Well, for me, the select board does.
for
So you
Shannon.
would meet with us as a group? Is
Yeah,
that
hope
how
so.
you-
That's right.
yeah.
Hope so.
In the executive session.
In an executive session. That's right. And then that would be the same for Merle. And then Todd, who is the foreman of the road crew, would be sitting down with his crew and going through this. And that's
And then I think Christopher
and
would.
Christopher,
work
you
on
sit down with
Todd's.
them during evaluations. When a road crew member has an evaluation, are you present for that evaluation?
I don't know. I've been through them before, but it's so long ago I don't remember.
Yeah.
I think you normally do Todd's,
Yeah.
and then he normally does the crew.
True.
So this form here, Todd would make it out for each one of the employees?
No, the
The
employee
would
makes
make
it
something
out.
out.
Yeah.
Then there's an identical one that is used by the supervisor.
So in an ideal world, the employee brings this and the employer or the supervisor brings this to the table. It's all checked off and remarked, and then the two of them discuss these all the way down, end up with strengths and weaknesses and remarks, and they're out of there.
Well, that might be in an ideal world. I have seen what came close to that, and that was for one of the employees. The employee filled it out, and then there was no signature by the foreman or by anybody on the employees, but there was an attached form, which wasn't this form. It was just a paper. And on that, it was gone through as to what, I guess, transpired during the meeting. And it was signed by the select board member or by the chair or by Todd.
So if we want to change anything
Yeah.
in this, are we doing this as a group? And if so, do we do
Yes,
this?
we are doing this as a group, but not tonight.
No, I know.
Oh, yeah.
In what form? Are we doing this during a televised select board meeting? Or
Yeah.
are we doing this as a special meeting? How do we do this?
Well,
I mean, you could do a work group if you wanted to.
it could be a work group.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this pretty much explains everything on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, if they fill it out, it's just, and then they could give their remarks of what they think, right?
Right. Well, one of
If they have
the,
a problem with the job that
Absolutely.
they see it going,
Absolutely.
then, you know, like you said, then Todd would just go down and do this, right? Make sure
Mhm.
it's,
and then leave a attached response of how the meeting went. They discussed this and that, and the next thing, and it's more of a narrative.
One of the things I might suggest is thinking about whether mine and Merle's might be different than the highway.
Oh, yeah,
Absolutely.
Because
Yeah,
our
that's
jobs
what-
are,
Results are different.
Some of this doesn't.
Doesn't
pertain-
relate.
Yeah.
The basic parts do.
Right.
But you're right, there are some things that are in here that wouldn't necessarily be for the highway, and there's things in the highway that wouldn't necessarily be for you.
Absolutely, and I think that's why we do need, it would be, I think, advised, I'm not gonna say we need, it's up to you all. I think it makes sense to do two separate ones. One for the road crew and one for the office people who work here in the town office. And the other thing too that I've just known from personal experience doing things like this is that when you say strengths and weaknesses, that can be sort of a boilerplate thing. I could say what my strengths are every single time I fill this out. It might make sense to have, what strengths have you noticed about yourself since the last time you filled this out? Or, something about an updating of what you've done since last year. Something more, current.
Yep.
Yeah, so is everybody kind of on the same page as knowing we need to kind of edit?
Well,
these?
since Chris did such a great job on the crew description, I wonder if people want to take a look at how this would be different for the highway people. If there's
How-
anything you want to add into it or take out.
Do one just for the skills and the things that need to be looked at for the road crew, and then bring that next week. If there's any changes or additions to this, it would be specifically.
This has worked without any problems.
When it's been used.
And it's been used. Well, let's use it.
Okay.
Just leave well enough alone.
Okay, all right, that's what we hear.
I don't think there's a problem with it. I think what we'll learn as we go, if there's changes that need to be made, and we can make them on the fly if we have to. Main thing is to let the employees know how they're doing and to listen to them to feedback as to what they need in order to do a better job.
Right. One of the things also is that I just know we've been talking about, and we will be talking about showing how we appreciate the work of our employees. And having an evaluation every year is a way that we are showing that we care about their work and that we are, we're interested in their work and we value their work. And it gives us an opportunity to basically do that. And so I would like to follow the policy, the personnel policy, and start practicing what is in here, and we will be doing evaluations this sometime later on in the year.
Everyone will be evaluated for the end of this calendar year.
That's right.
Is that a goal?
That's a
Of course.
goal. I don't know if we can do it by the end of the calendar year. That's July 1st. That gives us...
Calendar.
Oh, calendar, I'm sorry. Fiscal. Okay, yeah, calendar year sounds great. How does that sound great? We can all do that? We don't need a motion for that. We just tell Shannon and she'll remind us. Yes.
Don't forget that.
I think the strengths and weaknesses approach it's okay.
It is okay.
It's okay, but I think also tracking positive accomplishments
That's it.
is really what we're after, so that we can, that's a really great way to uphold the work of, the people who, serve our town, is to document the accomplishments. And that strikes me as being huge, so that, we really concretely appreciate people by saying, hey, look what you did this year. And I think that's...
You welded that fork, and no one else could do that here.
Right. Yes. And I think that's also a good way to evaluate people, is to really focus in on the things that they accomplished. And that's a strength, when people accomplish things that are in accordance with not just the job description, but also projects that people take on that may not be in a job description.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And maybe as we prepare people for this, we say under or strengths and weaknesses, okay, under strengths, talk about some of the things that you accomplished this year. And under weaknesses, talk about some of the things that you weren't able to accomplish.
And you'd like
and
to
why
learn.
why you didn't get that done. Is it something that we failed to support you on? You just didn't have time for it, or what? What is it?
I almost think that we might change the word from weaknesses to something else that
Challenges.
is
Something,
more
yeah.
appropriate and more positive.
Yeah.
Because weakness tends to have a negative connotation when people read that. And if you're talking about wanting to bring out the best in everybody, and then I would rather see another word used other
Yeah,
than weakness.
I agree with you. So this is something for you to take home and then bring back next time. And we're gonna firm it up and we'll get a stamp of approval to whenever that next time meeting is, I'm not sure. Oh, it's gonna be in the regular select board meeting? Okay, well, that's when it is. Thank you very much for your participation in that. Now, what did I do with my agenda? Okay,
So now we're back to required FEMA training?
yeah, I lost my agenda. Okay, what's next?
Required FEMA training.
Okay,
training.
FEMA training, moving right along, and we have some information for
We
3
have
of
3 select board members who need to take the required FEMA training. I sent a link.
Yep.
I have helped Chris sign up, and so he'll get that done this week. Mike, you're gonna come in and get signed up, and we'll get that done.
I'll get mine done this week too.
You'll get yours done, okay. So, sounds like it'll all be okay.
you. All right.
July meeting schedule.
July meeting schedule.
Okay, July meeting schedule. There is a little bit, a wiggle room in July, and
Not if we have ice cream every meeting.
we have a jokester, ladies and gentlemen. No.
July 3rd?
Actually, there is July 3rd, which is a scheduled first Monday meeting, but the next following day is July 4th, which is Tuesday. And, which is fine, we can meet the day before July 4th. But if any of you would like to go somewhere or take a 4-day holiday, we have 5 Mondays in that month. And we can, do we have 5?
We do, but I thought of something today. The tax rate needs to be set that week,
Yep.
Oh,
and it can't wait for the second Monday.
What did you say? I'm sorry.
We have to set the tax rate at the beginning of July,
Oh,
so
So the bills can go up.
oh
if
yeah.
you wanted to have a very short meeting, you could do that, or you could have a special meeting after the 4th. That would be okay. But waiting till the 10th won't work.
Oh,
So-
well, sorry, I didn't hear that when we
I didn't
proposed that
think of it.
idea, yeah. Okay,
So why don't we just try to do it for a short meeting on the 3rd?
I think that's a good
One
idea.
day.
Let's just do a short meeting on the 3rd.
okay. I'm not 100% sure if I'm gonna be here for that day,
Yeah.
because we're going away a few days before that, and
Mhm. Yep,
I should be home, but I can't promise.
okay, so we'll just make a note of that.
And so that's,
So
what,
I guess we're not,
would it be a 6 o'clock meeting, select board on the 3rd? So that you
yeah,
can-
because it's generally starts there. Anybody
We'll
wants,
just make sure we don't have no bids, nothing coming in on that meeting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
know what?
No
Bids.
bids or anything like that, you're not gonna deal with. Mainly just keep it to the pay orders and whatever else we gotta do.
Yep.
Be a short
All
one.
right.
And set the tax rate, pay orders.
Okay, that sounds fine. Sounds good. All right, well, we got that done.
That way we'll all be ready for the parade.
All right, old business. Further updates to highway crew job description. Where is that now? You wanna talk about that for a minute?
Yeah, it's completely my fault and my apologies that I didn't get a chance to really sit and review this until after the meeting that it was approved. And I found a couple of things that needed to be changed, and I thought that they were big enough changes that the board should at least know that I made them. And so the first one is on actually the signature page under terms of employment. The probationary period, according to the personnel policy, is 90 days. And I think it said 6 months, so that needed to be changed to match the personnel policy. And in the next paragraph, it says, all terms of employment, compensation, and benefits, including vacation, sick time, holidays, personal time, medical insurance, and VEMR's retirement, are set by the select board annually and will be based on satisfactory job performance. And that's not technically true because they're conditions of employment, even if you didn't get a satisfactory, you wouldn't necessarily take those away. So what Carol and I suggested was just ending the sentence at are set by the select board. And then those were the two big ones, and then I just took highway crew member and just sort of uniform used that term throughout the whole thing.
If we have a probationary period for full-time, because it specifies full-time employee, what if we have a part-time employee? What's
I
the
think it's the
probationary
same,
period for
but-
him?
We'd have to look at that. Do we have that?
The personnel policy covers all employees, that it's 90 days.
Okay,
Just
so
wanna
then
make
we
sure
need
they're
to,
matched.
Yeah,
okay, so we take out full-time, 90 days of employment.
yes.
I have a question or a suggestion for a word change on page 1. Under the qualifications, the second paragraph, it says, it starts with the highway road crew member.
Oh,
And,
I missed one. I changed everybody to highway crew member.
okay, but then
So-
the next one, under major job duties, it says the highway road crew persons. And I would like
Oh,
to.
are you looking at it?
I'm looking on page 1 here.
Yeah, see, mine just says members.
No,
Oh,
no,
highway road
On
crew.
the first line, it says members. On the second one, under major job description, it uses persons.
that's what I'm saying, that I would like
Oh,
it to be
yeah, you know
the
what, I
same.
had changed all those, so I'm thinking this might be an older version.
I'd
So-
like it to be the same word.
In the
It
new
does need to
version-
be- This is the new version and it is changed.
Okay.
They all say highway crew member
Okay,
Yeah.
That's
all the way through.
Good
Okay.
catch.
So,
But it's already changed.
I think I just was using the front page
Mhm.
of an old one,
Okay.
but in the new ones, they are.
So we will sign this next meeting?
Yep, so I'll have it all cleaned up and
Okay.
ready.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Sorry I didn't do it before the meeting, that would have made more sense.
Well, Shannon,
I know.
do you
are
need
you a
any,
human being?
No. I try not to.
Okay, recycling committee official charge. The recycling committee has been meeting, or once, only
I think
once?
there's another one tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 5:30 if you can be there.
Okay, 5:30 tomorrow. And we now have an official charge. And where is that paper?
One of the things that,
Straight ahead with a blue sticky on it.
Right here. Oh, yes, right here. Okay, thank you. That's my problem.
so one of the things about that whole recycle thing, the other day when Shannon and I met with the people on the flood things, where they get washed away, I was sitting, before everybody got there, I happened to be sitting there thinking about something, so I asked Shannon, and we asked the state people if them sites would be suitable for a recycle yard, you know, for something like that, because we were trying to find a place in town, and town owns, and they actually told us they would okay something like that.
They would what?
They would okay a site like that for a recycle yard.
Yeah.
what was that
So
again?
these places have been buying back from the flood.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because we was trying to find a place that they had these things or where they could put them on town property.
Yeah.
And like the town shed is in a good location and, you know, more than likely some of the spots might go away. We don't want them in the village anyways, I guess. So, I mean, we asked them, so we do have some lots like that would be available. There's 3 or 4 lots that the town owns,
Yeah.
right?
They're pretty much residential, aren't they?
All are. They all are.
They all are.
It's residential recycles.
Well, it's an idea, and it's something I'm sure that you'd probably want to pursue.
I'm just saying, you do have property that could be used if you really wanted to use.
Can you tell us which properties you're talking about?
Well, the town owns 2 or 3 of them over
The Dover Road.
246 Dover
They're all
Road.
on Dover Road from the flood.
Well, 3 of them are,
Uh-huh.
2 of the other ones aren't. One's on Stratton Hill Road and the other one's way out on Hickey Road.
That's
Those
amazing.
2 wouldn't really be
Nobody would go
viable.
there.
But the 3 Dover Road ones, maybe, maybe. Their one concern was fencing,
Yep.
because that could be an obstacle
Right.
in a flood, so.
I personally, with all those folks in that neighborhood who've had to go through quite a bit with the flood and also looking at the derelict houses for so long, I'm wondering, what do we do about what happens here when the containers get filled and the stuff starts blowing all over the place and into the brook, etc.?
Well, it'd be fenced in. That's
Okay.
one of the things they're looking at doing. If they
Yeah.
do something, it's gonna be fenced in.
Well,
I mean, it's not perfect. We just asked a question the other day.
Yep.
Yeah. let's
One of
get
my
it.
problems I was thinking about today is you got that covered bridge, you know, so to truck it, they have to come around through Dover,
All the
Alcohol.
way down the hill.
So I mean,
Yeah,
it's
that's
a lot
not
further
good.
trucking, but I mean,
Well, we're paying for that. We get paid by the tonnage by the mile, right?
Yeah. They do charge by the mile, yes?
well, they charge you no
Oh,
matter.
yeah, they charge you.
By the ton, but it's all figured in, you know.
Look at this, was just cleaned up out here. And look at the damn mess out there already.
Already.
It's
Yep.
disgusting.
Yep.
It is.
Gotta get those things out of there. Have
Yeah.
to.
Okay, so, we do have a proposed charge for this committee. And, they don't have a copy. So, let me read it to you. The proposed charge for the recycling committee. The charge of the recycling committee is to research the feasibility and cost of all viable alternatives available for continued recycling, and to bring findings and recommendations to the select board for their consideration. Any discussion on that?
Does it say a new thing?
Well, it would be for Newfane because it's our committee, but we could add
I think
Newfane.
I think
Where
we
would you
should,
like?
just somewhere.
The charge of the recycling committee of the town of Newfane?
No, viable alternatives to continue, somehow to state that it should be in Newfane, that we're in the,
In the town of Newfane.
yeah.
Well, I left that out because it may not be that having the bins in
That is
Newfane
a possibility.
is the best viable
If we went in
option.
with Brookline or something.
So would
So,
you
but
consider?
how does that work? Let's say, the committee decides that there's a great place in Newfane or in Dover. I mean, you can't just say, oh, that's where we're gonna go, right? You have to get permission from those towns.
You would, yeah. So we didn't say, you know, recycling bins in Newfane specifically, because that's really for them to decide if that's the best option or not.
Well, the whole thing is, and if you're going out of town, you might as well just truck your stuff to Brattleboro. And if you start heading for Dover or anywhere like that, you might as well just keep
Long
on.
way around.
It's only 8 miles or 10 miles from here to Brack, you know, I mean.
The
it's
only
just-
thing I would add would be the towns and villages of Newfane. So that gives us, that includes all the villages as well as the town itself.
Well, yeah, but it's under the town, I mean,
The town of Newfane
it
includes those
includes us,
villages.
yeah.
Okay. If you feel like that's inclusive.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the whole thing, the way I look at this whole thing anyways is, you're really not putting it out to bid, because anybody bids on something, expect to get awarded it and whatever else. All you can really do now is you gotta check out and get real pricing, because it's not in our budget anyways. I mean, you're gonna have to come up with a spot, and either somebody does the garbage, and you gotta have to furnish a place, you gotta know what the fencing's gonna cost, to go in if you got a great office site, I mean, and, how much this stuff's gonna cost per ton. I mean, as you see at your last meeting, everything just doubled. You know, you went to that meeting, everyone went 5 to 10 to 25 to 35.
Yeah.
I mean, everything's
Yeah.
going up, and it's just a start, you know. Then you get their foot in the door yet. Wait till that happens. I mean, this is just gonna skyrocket. It's gonna be just like garbage.
It's, the towns, people are gonna have to realize they ain't gonna have anything for a year anyway.
Right.
Because there's no money for budget for it. They're gonna have to dispose of their own disposables on their own.
Right.
Unless we went for a special town meeting. That'd be the only option.
That's true. We could have that.
Single warrant item, special town meeting just for that amount. But
We don't have the money in the budget, so
We have
we
money in
can't,
the
can't
budget.
change it. We
And I
can't
don't
change
think
it
you
until
can
next
get
year.
an accurate price from these people until
That's what
they
we
know
need
what it's
by
gonna
then.
cost
Exactly.
them.
Yep.
And they're not gonna know until maybe
That's
October,
what we
November.
need from this, is it
this is,
says, we need.
this is the same conundrum we've been working with for a year.
Feasibility and cost of
I think it has to
all
ride for a year to see
alternatives
what's gonna
available.
happen.
So we need the
And the
committee to bring
legislature
us
is now
the
revisiting
information
too,
about
so.
Yeah.
where, how, and how much. And a list. And that's what I think the select board is really needing. Do you agree?
Where, how, and how much?
Right.
And if,
And what?
and if, because
And
the
if.
best
If,
viable option
where,
may
how,
not.
and how much.
And, you know, I guess what I'm saying is they might find out that having bins in Newfane is not the best option.
They could. I mean,
So-
they could find out a lot of information.
That's why I say if, how
Yeah.
much.
Ken, did you have something you wanted to say?
Yes, at the town meeting, the town meeting on March 7th, I don't know the quality of that affirmation on the town's part. You know, exactly what that, it was a very firm affirmation that the recycling occurred here. Now, the town may decide in a different forum that it's really not what they in fact wanted after all, but is it the case, and I think Marion's point, you know, was sort of tipping my head into thinking, is it the case that the charge is going to at least incorporate the wish expressed at town meeting on March 7th,
Yeah, and that's what I was concerned about.
so that the options do include at least one of the outcomes of the committee's work is that they would explore the placement of said containers and would look at the cost. And maybe some other options get looked at as well, but at least it's not ruled out of hand.
Well, that's what I said, that's what
No,
I think
it's definitely
you have to look at, and that's what I tried to tell them too, is you gotta, one thing you really do, if you're not bidding it, you ask 2 or 3 different companies, what would you charge to take our dumpsters and dump it at your facilities and whatever? I mean, how much is it gonna cost per ton, how much a load, whatever, I mean.
But we
Yeah.
also need to think about where
Where you
these.
gonna put it?
That's it. And so this is why the charge, and we probably do need to add a few extra things about the town, and maybe the town, you know, and maybe even think about having eventually some kind of communication with the town. But
Well, that's why I said that it should be
Yeah.
included, that it says in Newfane.
yeah,
So
okay.
for continued recycling in Newfane,
In Newfane, yeah, and
And
the
that
cost
can
and the
include
viable and the
Williamsville.
feasibility. We need the committee to really look, drive around, think about where, how, and how much, and if this is going to be a viable alternative.
and for how long are their prices that you get good for? Because they could tell you one
Well, I think
price
it's pretty,
this
you
month,
never know.
You don't know.
and 3 months from now,
Fuel
they're
could
going
go
to
through the
you.
roof.
Well, so,
You're right.
so did you want to add the Newfane? And then what else did we want to add or change? Anything?
Well,
Did
maybe
you need
now
to
you
read
should
it?
take that to the committee and start with that at least.
Well, we're the ones that give them the charge.
Yeah.
No, I know,
Oh.
but I'm saying that we're writing
I
in.
mean, it's pretty much what we did at the
Where,
last
how,
meeting
what.
anyways, is talking about how they're gonna come up with pricing
Yeah.
on this stuff anyways.
Right.
She like almost wanted to just put it right out to bid with the, what are you bidding on? I mean, you bid it, you're just gonna,
Right, it'll change by the time we get around to.
but you don't have the money to pay
finding
for it
the
anyway.
plan. That's
So, I
right.
mean,
Well, Wyndham gave us numbers on how much they haul, right? Did
Yeah.
they give us,
yeah, they
There
had
were-
loads.
there
and
were
all.
Loads
great
and tons?
numbers.
they weren't? Okay, so that's what we start with though.
Yeah.
So we need to come up with a recycling committee charge because the recycling committee is meeting tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So, what would the board like to get, how would the board like to word this? We already got the idea of putting the town of Newfane in here. Did you want to see this and look at it more
No,
closely?
I liked it the way that it was
Yeah,
read.
that's, I do too.
Okay, all right, so here we go. Do we have a motion to approve this charge for the recycling committee, and I shall read it. The charge of the recycling committee is to research the feasibility and cost of all viable alternatives available for continued recycling in the town of Newfane, and to bring findings and recommendations to the select board for their consideration.
Sounds
So
good.
move.
We have a second?
I'm not gonna second.
Oh,
I'm on the
second.
committee.
Yeah, you can't second it because you're on the
I
committee.
already- I already got
Mary
blamed for
Ann
that. They wanted to
seconds
tell
it.
me off committee the first week. But I told them I had a suggestion to help them out, but they didn't like that, so they're gonna throw me off the board.
Well, you're still on the board, buddy. All right, so we have a motion, we have a second. Is there any further discussion? All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And one abstention. So we have four, it passes, 4-1. Yes. Hallelujah, that's done. And now we have the wonderful subject to discuss. And actually, it could even end up being wonderful, we don't know. About the telephone bill hacking issue that we are all know about.
I have
And
some updates.
Please speak boldly and loudly about what you have found.
I was speaking to some area legislators who asked if there was anything they could do to help. And so I sort of vented a little bit about how, while I don't believe that Fairpoint should be profiting off of, what happens to these nonprofits, I also think that the insurance companies should revisit their policy of only covering computers being hacked, because phone systems are computers. The next day, I received an email from VLCT saying that our denial of coverage was being reversed. So I sent them the bill, and they sent me today a letter saying that we could expect a check for everything except $1,000 deductible, which is in our policy. About 10 minutes later, the phone rang, and it was our town attorney saying that Fairpoint agreed to his recommendation that they only charge what the calls cost them, which was a cost of $900.
Rather than 3,500 or whatever.
So now the town has two options. You could take the insurance coverage with a $1,000 deductible, or you could take Fairpoint's offer for $900.
Last time I checked, and this was before the meeting, but 900 was less than 1,000.
That's what I'm thinking.
My
Correct me if I'm
calculator
wrong.
said so.
Yeah. I also did some research and talked to Shannon. I had probably bought about a dozen of these systems over the years and programmed and installed them. And as soon as I heard about this, I knew immediately what the problem was. And that is, these digital devices allow for you to call in to the device, enter a code, and it takes you to your phone where you can use your phone as if you were sitting at your desk. Now, what generally happens is that the company that installs this gives you a worksheet at the beginning, and you check off every single item that you want, by desk, by phone, by system. And evidently, either that got left off, or that switch was never really set, but the switch was left on, which allowed people, at least one person, to be able to call in remotely and access their phone and make calls through that phone, entering a password, and that password they used was the default password, which is 1234. So this was not any great piece of work to hack. These people who do this is exactly what they're looking for. They find them, they break into them, now they've got free access to make calls everywhere. So we know what the problem is, and Shannon has been in touch, and they have closed off that switch.
Yeah, so right now we are still able to call in and listen to our voicemails. We're not able to access an outside line. And
It's a small price to pay for safety.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a little irritating because all of the other options have also been shut off
Yep.
that a lot of us actually relied on. So it's sort of frustrating. And it might be that some of them could get turned back on now.
If we have the list of what all the features are, we could go in, pick and choose to, right now the system is locked down, so you can only make calls in and calls out and check your voicemail. So we don't have this happen again.
Right.
As we go along, we could re-explore that list of all the things that that little box will do, and it will do a lot. And begin to turn on some of those features selectively that do not allow for outside calls to be made into this system.
And we actually went a few steps further, and he went into the system and blocked certain area codes. So the list of the most frequently used area codes and fraudulent calls are all blocked. So even if we had a taxpayer in, let's say, Dominica, that we needed to get a hold of, we wouldn't be able to call them. So, but
Wow.
like you said, on the rare occasion that could happen.
Yep. You deal with them another way.
Yeah. So it is a secure system now.
Well, we'll get to you in a minute. I just want, let's give a hip hip hooray for a wonderful day, and thank you so much for doing all that work and making sure that now when we have to pay out the taxpayers' money, instead of $25,000, nope, instead of $3,555 or whatever it was, nope, we're now down to $900.
And if I had been here, I could have spotted it immediately
Yeah,
as soon as
but
it
you
came
were
up.
gone.
But I was away.
Yeah,
But we've learned a valuable lesson,
yes,
and now we're safe.
yeah. All right, thank you so much, Shannon. You did a great job. Thank you to Gary. Did you have a question, Ken?
Yeah, so it's great that we've got down to 900. That's excellent. I mean, everybody's been right on it, which is really great. So I guess the question then becomes, you know, we're in a position of taking their word for it from Fairpoint. They say, well, our cost is 900, but we're in a position where we're taking their word for it.
It's actually coming in writing, but the attorney didn't have it before the meeting, so.
Yeah, but I mean, their construction of their costs, I mean, and then we're, you know, because our deductible's at 1,000, we're still saying, all right, well, we'll pay the 900 because, you know, I mean, the question is, I mean, still we were hacked. I mean, it was still,
Criminal act.
and I guess the question is, does not Fairpoint have their own insurance and such that they absorb the cost? I mean,
This was not,
I'm on board with Ken.
it wasn't Fairpoint's
on this one,
On this one.
It is very, very clear in the
You
law.
know, because I'm telling you what, that's what I said right along too. I mean,
It's,
they say, you know, that you get hacked, all this shit. I said, who the hell knows Fairpoint weren't doing it themselves, you
it's,
know?
you know,
Paid everybody big
really,
bills and they think if they're all in trouble most of the time, they might want a piece of their own pie, you know?
okay, the reality is this, Fairpoint provides us with the dial tone. How we process that dial tone is completely our responsibility. In this case, we bought a system, which was less than a year old, and it was installed with certain programming switches turned on, which allowed for access to our system. Fairpoint had nothing to do with that. This is totally our responsibility.
It's true.
Totally. Now, we might push it back on the company that installed the system to say, where are the worksheets? And we want to see who authorized, because you sign off of each page of this. Where are the worksheets to show that you were authorized to turn off that remote access, turn on that remote access? But that's the only thing you got here. It's our system.
Yeah, but don't you think Fairpoint, when they see all of a sudden $5,000-$10,000 worth of phone calls coming in?
Well, they did,
25,000.
though. They did. They called us. They shut our long distance off, called and said, you have fraudulent calls. We brought Marty in. We thought we had taken care of it. Everybody changed their passwords, or we thought they did. And it was 2 days and it happened again. So it wasn't like Fairpoint was letting this go on. They kept in contact with us. And we would try again, and then it would happen 2 days later again. So, it took a couple of tries to get everybody to do what they were supposed to do. So I can't, I really can't fault Fairpoint at this
We
point.
could try to discover who actually was the criminal involved here, or who actually allowed that to happen. But we might just, we may just want to say, thank goodness we are not stuck with a bill of $25,000 from this criminal act. And we've learned now how to be much more diligent when we do install these kinds of things, and that we're educated and move on, and a hard lesson learned.
Do you speak Russian?
No, I don't.
Well, that's where the phone calls went.
No, they didn't.
You check them back, I bet you'll find they went to
Well, that's,
someplace
you're
like
just,
Russia.
well, we're just guessing here.
They were Dominica.
Wonder if Trump had anything to do with
Except for
That's
5
it.
Dominicas.
Okay, so that's one
All right,
way
guys,
they do it.
we are still
Their
on
phone
television.
fraud. They use a phone number, which is their phone number, and then they reverse it to the phone number in Dominica, or wherever.
All right, are we ready to, we're ready to do something here. We got an update. We did get an update. Is everybody updated? Yes,
We are
and
updated.
We're updated, we're moving on, and we're so very thankful that this is how the story has ended. Thank you so much for all your hard work.
Yeah, really.
All right, now, we are ready for correspondence.
No.
No, we're not?
Employee
We
appreciation
should
day.
talk about.
Oh, that's right, I added it, but I forgot to put it down here. All right, here we go. Employee Appreciation Day, thank you so much for keeping me on a straight course. We had brought up in our last meeting about having an Employee Appreciation Day, something which is rather unique here, and I think long overdue. And we talked about the 20th birthday thinking of the town garage, where really the vast majority of our employees work. As it was built 20 years ago this year, and that would be some way of putting it together. It's going to be complicated, and I'm going to ask each one of you to help with this project. And of course, I've already gotten townspeople excited about this, and I have several volunteers say, I'll help, yeah, count me in. So I think it's going to be a good thing, but we need to come up with a date or dates. And I think, Marion, we had kind of just on our own talked about September, and Shannon, you and I talked about September. Anybody else have better ideas or better months, or all of a sudden we're not talking?
Well, I would hope it'd be after Labor Day.
Well, that's
It
what
would
I
be.
said last time.
It would
that
be.
Yeah, I suggested
here's my
that we
calendar.
wait till after Labor Day.
Yeah.
Now, do we want, several towns and businesses actually give their employees a day off and have something to do something like that during the week. Or we have the weekend where we can actually have families come by and participate. So I thought about September because it's not too cold yet. We don't have to compete with the leaf peepers and all of the people coming for harvest festivals. It's after school has started, so we could, everybody's home usually, not on vacations normally. So what do you think about the 16th of September? It's a Saturday, and then we can always have a rain date.
I got a garage.
Pardon?
They can always go into the garage, which doesn't rain.
I can't hear you.
They can always go inside the garage, but it's
And
big enough
raining,
to
I don't
walk up
know,
with
yeah.
people.
Well, there's
And-
a, yes,
We'd also offer Fuel Cell Lodge if they wanted to use it. That we've got the commercial kitchen, we've got, ways to handle large numbers of people, so if they didn't want to do it at the garage, that'd be
Right.
another option.
well, we could, that's a place, and let's come up with a date first, and then we'll talk place, if you want to.
On my calendar, it says that September 16th, Saturday, is Independence Day in Mexico. So we
Well,
have to
we can
consider
have-
that.
We can,
So you'll have to serve margaritas.
I'm not.
That's right, there you go.
Well, I'm
My
not
vote.
actually sure we
My
can
vote.
actually serve alcohol, but we'll have to look at all those kinds of things. But I just thought maybe some kind of a barbecue, well, they can bring your own, I suppose, but,
There'll be a
some
lot of
kind-
people asking what's going on behind the barn.
behind the bar. We don't have to have it at the town garage. I think, Chris did bring that up, and he was worried about that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all,
Yeah.
Also because of the lack of.
it's not a good
kitchen.
place
Right, the
for,
lack of kitchen and things like
people
that.
walking
So
around.
we could have an idea of having it somewhere, we don't have to decide where at this point, where they have a kitchen. And we could have barbecues, and we could have just, a little socialization, food, and maybe a couple of skits by the, no, I'm teasing. But we could do something. I don't know. I'm not even planning that. But another person brought up the idea, well, how about having the actual meal and the, appreciation, whatever goes on, at wherever that is with the kitchen. But having a bus shuttle whomever, might not be a lot of people, over to the town garage for ice cream or something like that.
They got a mixer over there? Like a cement truck?
I don't know what they have.
That's a lot, right?
I thought we said something, I thought I heard something one night we was talking about this, having it at the Williamsville Hall, you could have a little
Yeah,
picnic
they work too.
to snack.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, the other, yeah,
Or
we
they
can have
are
that.
on the Newbrook Fire.
There are so many places that we could have it.
So.
I don't think we're gonna come up with a place tonight, but what we can do is we can come up with a date and a rain date. So that's your job. Keep paddling and tell me where we're going with this. Any ideas? I mentioned the 16th, which is a Saturday, Independence Day of Mexico. And do we have any other ideas?
We could put this
That's a
down for
reasonably
now.
good date.
Yeah,
That sounds like a good date.
yeah.
Well, I'm going to come up with a good date. No. Now, we need a rain date.
That's hard.
Just leave it at that.
Yeah,
You
just
leave
leave
it at
there.
that, and they come out and they dance in the rain. Okay,
Yes.
sounds
Well,
good.
like I said, if you did have it at the town hall, just a picnic type thing, you
Right.
go there, check
You're
things
gonna
out,
be
you go
inside
there.
anyway.
Yeah.
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 Or you could
Yeah.
have it at, Newbrook. I mean, there's a lot of different places that
Right,
are
but we'd be
covered.
indoors, so it
Yeah.
doesn't matter what the rain.
All right, so that it is. And now, time on the 16th. It's a Saturday.
So most people like to sleep in, so we start at 7 a.m., be
Yeah.
done by 11?
Yeah, right.
12 to 4.
12 to 4, or as long as the people last. Okay, 12 noon? What do you think? Come on, you can give some suggestions.
My husband's totally getting out of this.
I'm sorry?
I said my husband totally gets out of it.
Oh,
Oh, no, well, we want your husband in it.
No, we
What,
He doesn't.
when does he go to work?
You don't wanna know.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. How about, would 1 PM be better?
Don't worry about him.
Oh, don't worry about him. Okay, 12
Completely
to,
fine with me.
I am going to be so worried about him.
yeah, really. 12 to 4.
He gets up at 2 a.m. and he won't be back until 4 p.m. so
Aw.
don't worry about
Oh, yeah, yeah.
it. Don't worry.
Really?
He'll be too grouchy after anyway.
Oh, yeah, we don't want him grouchy. All right.
I will come
Well,
back.
let's do
figure the time
12 before. We can always adjust that.
12
It'll be in the
before, yeah.
afternoon. Okay, so I think we're done. Do we need to vote on that? Oh, we seem kind of in agreement. What do you think? Everybody's in agreement with that?
Sure.
Okay, there it is for you. All right, now we're going to have to keep talking about this. Any questions about this? What's next?
We'll think about it.
You think about it. It's going to be on the agenda every
Place.
single meeting because
No,
we
the
have
place,
to.
the place.
Place will be next.
yeah, you're gonna need to sort
The
of start
place.
thinking about the place, because if it's at Williamsville Hall, do they have a show schedule?
Oh, you
Is
will.
it at Newbrook, has somebody
Do I
already?
have a
is that-
volunteer on this board to check on places?
I'd be happy to work with somebody.
To actually do,
We could do them
find
together.
out and we'll come
Yeah,
up
we
with
do
a
it
place
together.
next time
Yep,
around?
okay.
Hallelujah, we have Gary and Marianne going to
The
bring
hall is
us
not open that day.
places.
It's not available?
The Williamsville Hall is not available on the 16th.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
Oh, well, then that may change a few things.
So we have the fire house.
Newbrook, fire.
Well, we could go back to the 9th, which is the week before.
No.
It's a day before
No.
Grandparents'
Emma's
Day,
saying no.
not the 9th?
Emma's saying,
No,
no.
okay.
Yeah, we'll figure that out. You know,
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so
Okay,
there we
let's
go,
go.
and then you
You
guys
know
are
what?
gonna come up.
Whatever date, we're not gonna be able to please everybody.
That's
but-
true.
I mean, really, and whatever time. It's just we're gonna have to commit to something, and whomever
Yeah,
shows
this
up
is
is
going to
gonna
be
be
a big
great.
job,
Yeah.
pulling this off, but I think it's going to be,
It'll be fun.
it'll be exhausting, but you know, it's really valuable, and I think we're doing the right thing to really appreciate our employees.
Mhm.
Very good.
And have fun too, as you said. Right. All right, now, we are having correspondence.
No,
Village meeting.
No?
Not,
what, I said I needed to talk for a minute.
oh, sorry, I guess I'm just getting very tired.
Yes,
Go
well,
for
I'm
it.
tired
A
too.
lot of talking in this
Okay.
job.
Oh, you know, I'm thinking, oh, it's only 10 to 7, except that that's an hour behind.
It is.
Anyway, just a very quick follow-up from what I was talking about last week with the impending meeting at the Incorporated Village of Newfane meeting, which was held on Wednesday, May 10th. And I wanted to report on that. And that is that I still had a question about if the Incorporated Village had its own separate bylaws and rules and regulations, and Shannon was kind enough to look up and copy all those bylaws and the legal paperwork. So it does really turn out that the Incorporated Village of Newfane has the same rules and regulations about animal and pet care, and also responsibilities for shoveling and taking care of one's sidewalk the same way as the town does. Which means that several people, of course, know who Mike Young is at this point, but several people didn't, and Mike had offered to be willing to come and speak to the members of the Incorporated Village at one point or another. But the bottom line is that we have rules and regulations. You have to pick up after your dog, and also in the winter, a letter's going to be sent out before the winter that people will have to be responsible for their sidewalk and snow shoveling. So that's all I wanted to say, is that we do have the same rules and regulations, and we are determined to keep them and remind people, and then hopefully people will follow the rules.
Okay, thank you. Ken, did you have something to say?
Yeah, does the incorporated village of Newfane have its own planning process?
It's on what front?
Its own planning commission-like process?
Okay.
Planning Commission.
Oh, planning commission.
Yeah, does it have its own plan?
Yeah.
What, because that impacts the, if you have your own plan,
Plan in terms of
Like a
what?
town
You're
plan?
talking about the plan for the village center?
No.
Like a town plan, which I don't think it does. It has a
No.
charter
No,
and it
we
has
have-
bylaws.
because apparently some villages do. And that then shapes the relationship of that particular incorporated village with the planning commission work that the town may have as a whole. But if it doesn't, that's fine, but if it did,
Now, I can tell you, we do have the honor of paying more real estate taxes or taxes.
yes.
Not more, just more, it's a separate whole branch. You get another bill.
That's what I'm saying. We are allowed to pay extra taxes if one lives in the incorporated village of Newfane.
Okay,
Yes.
thank you for sharing that. All right, we are now on to correspondence,
That's the
is that
plan.
correct?
Yes.
All right,
Pay your money,
Woo-hoo.
honey.
okay, here we go. This is from Blake Prescott, Wednesday, May 10th. And it is to the Newfane Selectboard. Dear Sirs and Mrs., I guess that's how you say that. During Green Up Day on South Wardsboro Road, a few things became evident. The same mile of dirt road nearest town provided more debris, necessitating an extra measure of bags this year. Some kindly taken by Dean Wilson in his pickup truck. Each side representing going, I think this means out of town, and going into town had a similar representation of trash, beer bottles, especially Coors Light, comprising, well, I have to say, actually it's Bud Light on Newfane Hill. Comprised a high percentage of the debris. We need a deterrent to the continuation of this ridding of bottles over that portion of the road. Placing of, quote, do not litter signs would serve as a deterrent, especially if placed at the initiation of the dirt road going west and before Eddy Road going east. One Green Up participant suggested a sign that says $500 fine for littering, while another suggested, quote, double fines for Coors Light, end of quote. We would be satisfied with whatever might be inexpensive, yet clear as to an indication that littering in this area should be halted. We thank you for your attention to this matter. Respectfully, Blake D. Prescott, M.D., resident of the area and regular participant in the Green Up group.
And they also have a beautiful display of thousands of daffodils on their hill in the springtime. That has become a destination for tourists to go up the hill to see the Prescott family. Very lovely.
Thank you, Blake, for your letter. I'm in agreement with most everything you've said, and I am a Green Up participant myself. Do we have anything that we want to, he is actually asking for signs, and so I'm thinking that we would want to have the road crew foreman, not the foreman, but both of you, think about these roads before we would make a decision about a sign on them.
Isn't there pretty much a state law anyways?
Yes,
I mean, if you litter, it's a $500 fine, isn't it?
yes.
So, I mean, you just gotta get, I mean, sign ain't gonna catch them, it's someone's
So,
gonna see
most
them.
people that throw stuff out like that, the sign's just a waste of money.
Yeah. It's true.
I
And
mean,
it
somebody's
always
gonna
ends up
catch them
being,
doing it.
it always ends up being a certain kind of beer can or bottle.
Yeah, it's the
And
same.
McDonald's packaging.
Yes.
Well, there's there's a lot of people who eat on the way home, I guess, and they throw their wrappers out the car as they're going home. I can understand the beer cans because, you know, you might not want your mom or your wife or somebody, your sister, to know that you are drinking beer again, and so you're going to get rid of all of the cans as you're driving home.
Well, then we can quickly fix that. We'll do DNA samples on these beer cans.
We could
We'll
go down
get
to
to
the
the bottom of
Newfane
this.
market and see who buys Coors Light.
I think
yeah.
we're having a lot of fun, but we do need to take his complaint seriously
No,
and
I
his
take it very
suggestion as
seriously.
well. And I'm thinking, how can we get back to him, or at least tell him that we've read it on and he can listen to our very wise suggestions about what to do about this.
I mean, he just wanted to put a sign at the begin, by the blacktop and one by Eddie Road, so he just looking to cover a half mile of road. And,
Yeah.
I mean, that's, if you're gonna put it up to the Wardsboro line and one down there or something, but like I said, everybody knows it's a $500 fine for a
No,
litter.
not everybody. I'm sitting here totally ignorant of the fact that littering is a $500 fine.
You probably think you're supposed to drive down Route 30, throw it out, that's what keeping state guys busy in the spring picking it up. So you just created a job.
Well, the ones that we aren't.
Do it out on the road.
How
Yeah, if
brilliant of
everybody
me.
kept it in their car, then state guys don't have nothing to do come spring. Jesus.
It's a serious problem.
It is, it
everywhere.
is.
And you would think that these days people would know better, but
And
some people
not
just
driving
don't
and
want to
drinking
follow
at the
the
same
rules.
time. Yeah.
Plus they're throwing out a nickel every time they throw that can out.
That's right.
Oh, I don't think they're worried about that, do you?
I guess not, they're chucking them out the window.
So what are we doing with this, with Blake's letter? We're going to get a hold of Blake, we're gonna tell him that we discussed this. Some people felt that signs aren't going to be helpful.
I mean, what are you gonna do? You gonna put them on every road in town? I mean, it's just not that road. I mean, every road had a lot of garbage. I mean,
What do we do with other letters?
I'm thinking actually, with something like,
I think if you write them a letter explaining to them, and it's already a $500 fine.
or front page forum, the website, we could have a wonderful picture of a sign that says $500 fine for littering on town roads. We could try to get the word out, advertise it a little bit more, so people that, may read it, or a neighbor might say, hey, or who knows, but at least discuss it a little bit and advertise it a little bit, publicize it a little bit, that, there is $500 fine for littering, so litters, put it in the garbage or recycle and get your nickel or something else.
Chris,
Yeah.
does the state provide like standard sign stock that the towns can buy?
No, you can, Todd, I forget where he gets them.
Yeah.
He has to order signs and he wants them.
Okay. So we could look into
We could find
providing
out what a
signage.
cost of a sign is.
Yep.
We could do a little bit of investigation and also a little bit of advertising about the fine. And a letter
I'll send
responding
it
to him, to his letter. Is that agreeable with everyone? Okay.
Maybe we could find signs for pickup after your dog at the same time.
Well,
I watched one go right on your yard the other day.
Thank
now we're
you.
going to be on this again.
So you're a witness.
Did you take pictures? I think you should.
Did you tell the person?
All the people,
No.
I think you should walk up and down West Street and have those, what are those things that
It was
people
an
put on their...
elderly woman, that's all I can tell you.
Okay.
Okay, now I have to go home and think. How old?
What are those
What do you
things called?
consider
I know.
elderly?
Webcam or...
Even
I
a fish
think
would
it's
stay out of
time
trouble if he
to,
kept his mouth shut.
do pay orders myself. All right, we're getting ready, kind of getting off the subject here, and we need to do pay
Is that all the
orders.
correspondence?
Yes,
I've got to go.
you gotta go, okay. Thank you very much, BCTV.
Thank you, good night, thank you, Ben.